Good evening. My name is Terry Matsumoto from Takumi Corporation. Takumi is a Khronos member, a long-term Khronos member, who provides hardware graphics accelerator IP. And I've been to some of the audience's premises before, because I'm responsible for global business development. Thank you for your time today. And let me talk about the progress of KITE in Japan. We are slightly behind Dr. Lee's country, Korea, although we gather much interest from academia, both academia and industry. There is another Japanese Khronos member whose company name is Digital Media Professional, aka DMP. And one of their business, they are also a major hardware graphics accelerator IP in Japan, which means our direct competitor. One of their business models is to provide commercial trainings and educational programs. And that's why the idea of KITE fits perfect to them to lead the promotional activities in Japan. And among many programs and courseware they provide, OpenVG related or OpenGLES related courses has been always sold out. So it is even better, perfect fit to promotion of KITE, which means there's a lot of high demand, which should mean there should be a lot of high demand for training and education in Khronos technology in Japan. And although there is some issue, just like Dr. Lee mentioned, which is quality of education. Of course, Khronos is confident that DMP has the right qualification because they're a long-term Khronos member, and they're professional of educating and training people. So we have confidence in their quality, but what about others? That's an issue. And that's why we now have a new goal of making standardized exam, or developing standardized exam to ensure quality education in Japan for Khronos. And so far we had two major footprints of KITE activities in Japan. One is the very first meeting with the professionals from academia with the Khronos Group, hosted by Elizabeth there, and Kasai-san, who is a Japanese representative of the Khronos Group, together with Neil, appearing on the screen as not as an android, but as a remote host of this meeting in November 2011, last year. And also the KITE slides were reviewed by the significant Open CAE Society of Japan seminar in December. Open CAE, as you know, stands for Open Computer-Aided Engineering, which tries to promote parallel computing for this industry. And that was in December. And we're having two more meetings already scheduled. The first one this year will be Osaka in May 8th, and followed by another meeting in Tokyo on May 9th. And then the next week we're going to have Japan face-to-face, or Japan outreach, similarly, in a similar style as we do here. And those two meetings will be more powerful because there are 4 hosts attending the meeting, not as a remote video screen stars, but as a real, not as augmented reality person, but a real person. So those two meetings will be hosted by Neil, Elizabeth, and Kasai-san and Dr. Eddie. So that's going to be the very first powerful implementation of KITE activities in Japan. So this has been a report of KITE updates in Japan. Do you have any questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for coming, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Riegel, and I'm the Executive Director of Khronos Group. I've had the privilege of being the Director of Khronos Group for the last 12 years. From the very first day, it became an idea at a bar in Convex, actually, and it's been a thrilling ride. I spend all of my time and a whole staff of people that travel around the world taking care of Khronos and its interests. And I'd like to report to you the activities that we do, look at what we've done and what we're going to do, and also to talk directly again about KITE and how you might be able to get involved with local chapters. Oops, excuse me, I had an extra slide in there. This is a quick look at the MAP schedule, just to talk about what is a MAP. MAP is the Marketing Advisory Panel within Khronos Group. We do an awful lot of marketing activity, and we are always strongly encouraging participation from members within Khronos to get involved. Many members don't realize that with their annual membership comes an awful lot of marketing opportunity where you can participate mostly for no cost at all, and then sometimes for a low cost. And it is at these meetings where we review immediate activities, talk about opportunities being offered to us, and what I like to stress most importantly is talk about our long-term views. Are there messages we're not communicating? Are there miscommunications, misperceptions out there that we need to correct in the public opinion? So by dialing in or attending to these meetings, you have a chance to contribute and to get your company involved. I'm going to go through a few topics about our outreach and our different infrastructure so that members who are here can understand what goes on, and to those of you who are not members, you'll get a good chance to see how our organization runs. We work on translations of all of our materials. We've had success with Japanese and some Korean translations, but we need a lot of help getting Chinese translations of our materials. We're hoping that our activities into academia will perhaps give us some resources through advanced student projects who could help with some of these materials. There's a list here of some of the projects that were done in Japan most recently. The WebGL guidebook will be published soon. And the KITE system that's mentioned on the bottom bullet point is a mutually beneficial arrangement we have with the publisher, where they took a book that's already been written, translated it, and now we're getting royalties as they sell it. So we find that's very attractive. We'd like to try to make that happen with as many materials as possible. And please feel free to ask any questions on these topics as we go along. Did anyone want to know anything about translations? Reference cards are one of our most popular giveaways because they're such a useful tool. These are produced by the work groups as part of the specification product. There's a list here of the current projects. The OpenGLES reference card is, of course, much anticipated and will be ready for the launch at SIGGRAPH. We're pleased that we have been able to improve some of our internal processes so that we try to have the reference card ready when the specifications are also. We've recently converted the reference cards to the much more popular A4 size used by the rest of the world. Originally, they were in the US letter size. We heard some requests for that, which was good. To me, that means people are using them, and we've been able to customize. Some of our members hold events of their own where they would like to have large quantities of these cards, and we had set up a online store so that you were able to purchase these materials at the same cost as Khronos to be able to take care of your own events. If you have any questions on acquiring any of those materials, just let me know. These are notes from our webmaster. He is continually working to improve our processes. Indeed, the fact that all of our web processes and backend are run so well and constructed so carefully definitely aids in the speed of our progress. We've had a lot of focus in the last year on making sure that we had localized sites for Japan, Korea, and China, and we're now even looking at some other languages. We've had interesting inquiries from places as far away as Ghana and Russia, and so we're looking at how much time we can invest. Of course, with volunteers willing to help, we're willing to consider any project. This is something that I'm particularly excited about, the new Khronos Speaker Bureau. This is a very easy way for Khronos members to go to our website, give us a little simple information about your background and speaking interests and your expertise. And we're using this speaker bureau to promote to other events and to universities. When you've heard the references to the local KITE chapters, this is something that we will encourage the chapter chairs to use. It will be a tool for them to find expertise in their area to invite in to speak to their chapters. And I think we've already gone up to about 20 members now since the slide was created a few weeks ago, listing the APIs on which they'd like to speak. When I have shown this speaker bureau to events organizers, they were marveling at that. They'd never seen an organization make it that easy for them to find experts, so I hope that's useful. Khronos uses the services of a number of regional subcontractors. Terry was referring to Kasai-san. Hitoshi Kasai is the Japanese subcontractor that we've used for many years. Of course, he's not here, so I will be speaking for him on his update. The Tokyo members have been meeting very regularly in this kind of setting that you're doing this evening, at least once a year for the last several years. But as Neil mentioned, we are soon to be eliminating mostly these smaller meetings because we're very proud that we're going to be coming back once a year in rotation to Asia and bringing the whole group with us, which is about 120 people. Those are the people who attend face-to-face is what I mean by the 120. Those are about the number of people that travel to attend those week-long sessions. The next face-to-face is when we're in Tokyo for the week of May 11th, and that's at the Hsinchu Southern Tower. As earlier mentioned, we've done a lot of translations, hosting press conferences, and DMT and Imagination Technologies co-hosted a seminar with Khronos. I think there's someone here from Imagination, so I'd certainly like a chance to meet with you after the meeting. We didn't get to meet with the greetings. And again, May 7th through 11th, we're in Tokyo for the week, and inviting anyone who's interested to speak in those areas. Juan, did you want to give your... Well, some of this was covered a little bit in Juan's slide, but Juan Yongli's company has an agreement with Khronos to, besides being a member, they also do outreach for us in Korea and have been instrumental in our success there. There's a list of the different members and adopters, so you can see we have a large representation in Korea. Well, I think you'd have to talk to this slide. I don't know about your activities and standardization.
The first, the Korean Government Standard Association making the national standard. They decided to making WebGL as a national standard of representing 3D, the programming of 3D application on web pages. So that it is almost the final stage. So we will release it as the national standard of the web 3D, and also I think it is some international standard organization, JTC SC24, decided to making new working group, and the AR and MR working group is launched. So I think that Korean chapter, the IS SC24 Korean chapter is very actively participating in these activities. So I'm the actual convener of this working group is the Korean professors, and Neil Trevett is participating in the first meeting of that working group meeting, and then so the SC24 Korean chapter has some kind of very good relationship between Khronos Group, and then the ISO standard will reflect that Khronos standard. So the next standard will be frontally accelerating on Khronos API. That is a condition of our standardization. So I think that kind of collaboration will be continued until the final standard will be released.
Thank you.
So, pardon? Yeah. So what's the meaning for the national standard? That means that the OpenGL is must supported in Korea's browser or anything?
I mean, it is Korean. The official name of standard is very complex, but the standard for representing 3D data in web application, I think. So
Okay.
Actually in Korea there is no web browser maker.
Okay.
So, but for example that ebook like
Okay.
electronic textbook should follow WebGL to draw 3D object or something.
Okay.
That is purpose of that standard.
Okay.
Not browser
Okay.
for content.
Okay. However, for Korea, do you have any other national standard based on the Khronos? I mean that, for example, OpenGL, yes, is a standard
No.
or not? No. However, you use OpenGL, as you know that OpenGL is based on OpenGL, yes.
Your WebGL is based on OpenGL.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
That's the OpenGL is not national standard, but
Okay.
you know that HTML is national standard, of course. XML is national standard, and CSS is national standard. The cases think that they want to use HTML5. They will make the HTML5 as a national standard, but they are very interested in 3D object. But there is no standard in HTML5. HTML5 depend on, so they decide to use WebGL.
Okay. So I can shortly say that Korea want to make HTML5 as a national standard. You know, WebGL is an important part of HTML5, so it's a very good candidate for national standard, right?
Yeah, right. And in that the document of WebGL standard, the OpenGL ES and OpenGL shading language document translation is the reference document of that standard.
Okay, so WebGL is also a candidate or not? WebGL.
Currently not.
Currently not. Okay.
Yeah.
But maybe hopefully. Thank you.